At the time that we are beginning this recording, we are still waiting on the Supreme Court's decision on mifepristone. And I don't know about Karoli and Aliza, but I'm not feeling very optimistic. Welcome to
Wait, you don't know about us?
Part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com. And does anybody think that they extended that deadline because they were so busy writing something about how we need to have this drug on the shelves?
The thing is, though, is that Elie Mystal has been right about this. Anybody who's, is intellectually honest knows there's no standing. They could just toss it right now out the window.
Exactly.
Bye.
It never should have gotten this far.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Infuriating.
Yeah. He's been right about this all along.
Yeah.
He's if there's anything that he's 1,000% right on all the time, it's abortion.
Yeah.
But it's not even just about abortion. It is going to completely upend our medical system.
Yeah.
If any Yahoo from any place can just find a judge to say, I don't like this drug on the shelf, and medication that has been studied and approved and is safe and people have been using it for years can just be taken off the shelves.
Right.
And I just see the things that we lived with certainty all our lives being taken away and taken away and taken away. And I feel helpless. And I know I'm not helpless, but it feels helpless.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we can't. The best we can do is push to expand the court. I mean, we can't vote the Supreme Court justices out like we could with some, if it was Congress or something like that. So that's why there's a feeling of helplessness, because these 9 people, and let's just face it, it's 6, actually, one woman and a bunch of men, right, from on high, who want to tell us what we can and can't do, tell us and our daughters and everybody else what we can and can't do with our bodies. Why? Because they're afraid that we don't have enough white babies. Yeah. That's really the bottom line. I mean, it's all rooted back in that fear. And I feel helpless too. And mad.
The entirety of the bad news this week, of all the shit this week. And I get to be the first one to say a cuss word. It's all about the fears of white people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If that is the theme of this year, but also the show today, because that's all of it, is the fear of white people and how they've been stoked into that fear. And, and I mean, I would love to say, we have the last gasps of white supremacy, but I don't think we do. I don't think it's anywhere near that. I mean, as good as Gen Y and all those guys are, there's too much. There's too much.
No, they were too good at making it foundational in our nation. They were the founding fathers, the founding mothers, the founding, our founding documents. They're just the way the nation is run. It's interwoven with the finest threads into, where white people are so good at making it part of our lifeblood as a nation that there's as outraged as the younger generations are and continue to be, generation after generation speaks out against this. We have not been able to, we haven't been brave enough to eradicate it. Right. We haven't been able to hold the mirror to ourselves enough, to look into the mirror enough to do the work that needs to be done to eradicate it. And that's on us.
Yep, it is. And I mean, well, why don't we can just run through some of this week's white people fearing for their lives. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it's really
It
frustrating.
Horrifying.
It's really frustrating and horrifying. Yeah, I mean, it's so we have a young black man, black kid, right? Teenager,
is a
the
15 years
16,
old.
goes to the wrong address for to pick up his twin brothers, I guess, twin brothers.
Yep.
And
Younger brothers.
Yeah.
right. And so he went to the wrong, he was on the wrong street, had the right number, wrong street. And the 85-year-old resident of the house shot him not once, but twice. I mean, right,
Through the door.
shot him through the friggin' door. He didn't even
Yep.
open the door. He didn't even listen. It's just like, I'm shooting you now. Boom. And then
Yeah.
and then he shot him again in the head.
Yep.
And then the police are being so gentle about it. They're like, well, there is a racial component to this. But his own grandson is saying,
No shit.
he was ginned up. Of course, there's a racial component, and that he's been like ginned up by Fox News for years. That he was a big Trumper. That he's religious about Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson really is the white power hour. So I'm not offering that as an excuse at all. I think that he should be 85 or not. He should spend the rest of his life in jail for that.
Yeah.
That one choice to shoot that kid. Fortunately, he lived. And I hope that he's going to be able to cover fully. I haven't heard on that whether he will be or not, but I hope so. And so that's number one. And then you have cheerleaders shot for getting in the wrong car. And I couldn't tell. I mean, I don't know if this was necessarily white people fear or not, but it was certainly ridiculously stupid on the part of the shooter. A couple of girls get in the car. They're not going to, what does he think is going to happen to him? They're like,
They
oh,
got
I'm sorry,
out-
I'm getting out.
they
Boom, boom.
apologized. Yeah.
No, he got out
Yeah.
of the car and followed them.
Followed them and shot them.
He didn't, it's not even like they got out, like he shot them before they got out of the car. They got out of the car,
Yep.
were on their way to their own car.
Right.
And he
right.
got out of his car, followed them, and shot them.
Right.
What is the matter with him? I mean, what would possess somebody to do that? If, oh, whoops, I got in the wrong car. Sorry about that. I'm getting out now.
Yeah.
And they then you get shot for that? What is the matter with him?
Well,
That-
and
I
then
don't.
Excuse me, my dog's eating something.
And there was the case of the girls who pulled into the wrong driveway
Yeah.
and got shot before they had a chance to pull back out.
Right. And
yeah,
a
but notice
20-year-old
the speed with which that guy was charged with murder, and notice the color of her skin.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
It's also a different location.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
but also a white girl.
Yes. And she was
Right.
murdered. She was
Yeah.
actually killed.
She was killed.
And then
I mean,
you
it's
got
tragic.
the one with the 6-year-old who got the basketball that rolled over onto the neighbor's lawn.
Wait, what was this now? I don't think I've heard this
Oh, you
one.
haven't heard about this? Oh man, this one just chops. Ugh, it just makes me crazy.
6-year-old is playing with the basketball. It rolls onto the neighbor's lawn. The neighbor shoots the girl and her parents. The girl and the mother are grazed. The father is in serious condition in the hospital. That shooter was a black man. And the neighbors were white.
I don't get it.
Which goes to say that the problem is the fear we have of one another.
Yes.
And too many guns.
Right. I mean, I asked myself this question: if in these cases, if they didn't have a gun, what would have happened?
Yeah.
What would have happened? Well,
He would
for
have yelled,
starters,
"Get
there
off
would have been a
my
couple of people alive, right?
He would have
That
just
would be
yelled,
number
"Get off
one.
my lawn. Be careful with your basketball."
Right. This neighbor doesn't want you to have your basketball in his yard. Don't do it. Put your,
Right.
and that would be the end of that. You come in or whatever, or the cheerleaders would have been, I don't know, he could have shaken his fist at him or something,
Right.
I didn't have to shoot him. And of course, Ralph Yarl, imagine if he was knocking on that guy's door just to say,
Oh,
can I do
good.
something? Can I help you with your yard, or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Just being a good citizen, or
Well,
which he was
this,
being a good citizen.
yes,
He
this
was
kind of
doing,
thing. Imagine if you work for DoorDash, you know,
oh, well,
imagine you hit the wrong house. Imagine if you are doing what we have done in the past and you're canvassing before an election, you know?
right.
These guns put everybody at risk. And this
Yeah.
fear that has been ginned up
Hmm. Hmm.
by
Gunned up.
Fox and OAN and Newsmax and everybody else, it
Fear of
is,
the other.
yeah,
Yeah. I know. The guns have got to go. I don't care if wingnuts whine. I really don't. Let them. They've got to go.
we
They
had
just
a
do.
functioning Second Amendment when we were kids, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like,
People who had guns for protection or because they were sports people, they had guns, but they weren't AR-15s,
Right.
you know, and they weren't marketed in a way that there were more guns than people in the country.
Right. And it's gotten way insane. And this is, this all happened. All of these instances of gun violence happened uh,
This,
after the NRA conference last weekend,
yeah, yeah,
which was absolutely batshit crazy as usual. I mean, I won't tell you, you don't even need to know specifics. It was just crazy. It was insane. And all the presidential hopefuls were there. Ooh, it's every week they have a wingnut confab. Last week was the gun one. So it's just, I mean, I feel overwhelmed, but there is some good news. Like, for example, Washington State it looks like is going to pass an assault weapons ban finally. And,
good.
like they've failed at that a few times. So that's a big deal if they get that done. Um, and states are doing what they can. Of course, in California, we have an assault weapons ban that is being struck down by the courts. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. The Second Amendment has just been completely perverted.
Yeah,
Elie Mystal is good about that too. I mean,
yeah,
he just
yeah, like
basically,
the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia doesn't
mhm,
kill children in their classrooms and doesn't
right,
shoot teenagers through the door.
right,
And that's not what it's for.
exactly.
It's to keep the
So,
government from forcing their soldiers to stay in your house.
right.
I mean,
At a time we didn't actually have an army or a National Guard.
yeah.
right. So, I mean, in back in those days, people, if you went like to fight the Civil War, you took your own weapon, you didn't get one.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that was the whole point, was that and it wasn't like everybody had one. And it's certainly, I mean, if you've ever seen a black powder, gun, they don't fire a bazillion rounds into into other people. You have to stuff it down. It's really a
It's a
process
lot
to
of
get it.
work.
It is.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why they put bayonets on the end of guns, because if you got too close, it wasn't going to work anyway. But yeah, so I don't know. This topic is so frustrating and depressing to me. Like, I want to find an answer, and there just isn't one. There isn't going to be one as long as we have the Joe Mansions and the Kirsten Cinemas and the people that think we should negotiate with our other side.
Well, I mean, there could be if we had more senators.
It could
Um,
be if the other side was a good negotiating partner.
no, but they don't negotiate in good
They
faith. They
In
don't.
ever.
any kind of compromise or any kind of negotiation. That ship sailed 20 years ago, 30
Right.
years ago.
Yeah. And it's not coming back.
No.
And that's why when I hear but I don't feel like our side, our senators get that. Right? They want to be like Durbin is still allowing for
Blue slips.
the blue slips,
Yeah.
right? That block nominees. Now McConnell got rid of them.
Right.
Durbin brought him back. So
Because
I
they
mean,
wanted to make things normal again, but things are
no,
never
there
going
is nothing normal. I mean, that's the thing. They
It's
could,
not.
I don't know what world they live in where they think that this stuff, that they can just be normal again after that side stole a Supreme
Free
Court
speech.
nomination
Yeah.
and, and did all, there's no normal here. So,
Yeah.
so when Dianne Feinstein says, I just want to keep recovering and I'll agree to have a substitute on the judiciary panel. Are you seriously thinking Republicans are going to do anything like approve that?
They
Of course
already
not.
said they wouldn't.
They
You know,
already,
it's
yeah,
already dead in the water.
exactly.
They're gleefully saying, "Ooh, we can stop the Democrats now." It's
We
the
can
only
stop their
way.
judges, their liberal judges.
Yeah,
Ugh.
which we're
And
only.
Durbin's like, I'm going to ask you really nice to think of Dianne Feinstein and her legacy. I
They
mean,
don't give up. They don't care.
no
But weren't
disrespect.
some judges moved out of committee, and isn't there a whole backlog of judges that need to get approved in the Senate and stuff? I mean,
There is a backlog, but let's not just leave it at judges, right? I mean, what happens, just for the sake of argument, what happens if there's a Supreme Court nomination that comes up in the next couple of months, right? With Democrats in charge. Well, guess what? We can't get a nominee out of the Judiciary Committee because Dianne Feinstein is not there to vote.
but she
And
might
there's
be in a couple months.
substitute.
I mean, I'm just
She's
saying
not
it's
coming
shingles.
back. She's not coming back. It's not shingles. That's the excuse. She's not coming back. That's
don't
why
think
they
it's
floated
shingles?
the balloon. No, she is
What do you think it
cognitively
is?
impaired. She is cognitively impaired to the point where it's a problem. And she can't drive. She's not going to be able to travel. She's not going to be back in the Senate. That's the whole reason they floated the trial balloon about her working from home for the rest of her term.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that anywhere. Where did she say working for the rest of her term?
Politico. I'll link it.
Yeah.
I mean, basically it was to see if she
I don't
can't just
trust
work from home that's kind of what triggered me going, no, it's time for her to retire then, because we got to have somebody there. Because it's not just the Supreme Court, it's the votoramas, right? It's the it's the budget, it's the debt ceiling, it's all of it. We need that vote there.
You know.
Right. And I hear a lot about, well, back in the day, Robert Byrd wasn't there for everything. They had to wheel him in to vote for the Affordable Care Act. All of that is true. But guess what? We had 56 senators.
Yeah.
We didn't have 51. So
it was different.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hear I have been barraged with it all week long. I'm actually sick of arguing about it. She's not coming back. She needs to resign. We need a replacement. And honestly, if she does resign, it's a whole different set of rules that they don't have as much control over.
Right.
The Republicans.
I mean,
wait, I'm sorry. If she does resign, it's a whole set of rules they don't have? Is that what you said? Uh-huh.
Yes, it is. So they don't have as much control over it. And, we can point to John Kyle when John McCain died. He was on committees. He basically sat on all the committees John McCain sat on. Tina Smith did not sit on all the committees that Al Franken sat on, but she did have committee assignments.
mm-hmm.
And they did move around, somebody into his slot that was a Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. So, I mean, there's precedence for that, but there is no precedence for a substitute. And so they're absolutely right to say, well, we're not going to make that exception. So I don't know. I'm just super frustrated about all of it because we're back to where we were before we got Fetterman.
Yeah.
Because she's not there. And as a Californian, I'm honestly sick of only having one senator. I mean, Wyoming gets more representation and more votes right now than California does. So 40 million people are effectively disenfranchised. So I'm sorry. I'll not rant. I know I like went.
No,
I
it's
just went
fine.
through to like something that was at the end. Sorry.
There- those things in our rundown are not numbered.
Yeah, they're not there. It's not
Okay.
in an
Not
order.
numbered. And,
Okay.
we were talking about the courts. It is an
Mhm.
important aspect of what is wrong with the courts. When Karoli talks about maybe we'll have a Supreme Court justice opening, that's not an entirely out of the realm idea because even though he would have to be forced to, Clarence Thomas should resign.
He should. He should.
I have
He should be tossed out
zero
on his
confidence.
freaking ear. He
I
should
have
be out
zero
on his
confidence
ear.
that'll happen.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
please.
strange
Of course
things
it
have happened
won't.
before, but you know,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I just
yeah.
can't see a realistic scenario in which that happens.
well,
I can, but
I see John Roberts
would
as so
take,
weak. I can't see him pressuring.
yeah, it would take a lot of pressure from outside. I mean, it would
yeah,
basically take John Roberts getting to the point where he understood that his court was, nobody had respect for his court, and it's going in that direction,
which is
How
true
does
right?
he not understand that now?
because they only
Well,
watch Fox News.
exactly. And they
I,
live in a bubble, in the
that's
Washington,
not going to
D.C.
change.
bubble, I swear, where they float around and they go to their Georgetown restaurants and they do,
Yeah, that's what I'm
they
saying.
only deal with all
That's
their,
not going to change.
it's, yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he is very, very, cognizant of his legacy. That's what he wants, is,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so.
I mean, I have to tell you that one of my favorite things is when a Republican decides they're going to reach out to the other side and for the first time gives an interview to mainstream media. And they're not dealing with Fox or Newsmax or OAN. And they're
they have to
always
deal
so
with it.
shocked to get real questions.
I know.
When did that happen? Did I miss something?
Every once in a
It
while.
has. You see it sometimes on the Sunday shows.
Uh-huh.
Like actually, I have to say, and I say this in the mildest possible way I can, that Chuck Todd has actually done some
Had some good
pushback on
interviews
Sunday.
lately.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah. So
Rare. It's rare, but
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, that's he's had some that where he's pushed back and
Huh.
they've been shocked, and then you see other Republicans say, well, that's why you shouldn't be going on, on those liberal networks, because they ask you these gotcha questions. It's like, yeah, well, whatever.
just doing real journalism that you're not used
Yeah.
to.
I mean, can we just say, like, I just want to say, for the rest of my life, lying Fox News. Every time I refer to Fox News, it's going to be lying Fox News.
Yeah.
Because, even though we didn't get our public admission and, we didn't get all the things that we were hoping for,
Yeah.
that would have been awesome. Like, I really, really, in my dreams, I want to hear Tucker Carlson say, I lied to you when I
Yeah.
said that the election was stolen.
Yeah.
And I want to have him say that every night for maybe, I don't know, a year. I
Yeah.
mean, people say to me, well, those people that watch Fox News, they're true believers. They're not going to get it. I don't think that's true. I think if Tucker Carlson said to them every night he lied to them, they would get it.
Yep.
It would take a while. They wouldn't get it the first time. They wouldn't get it the second time. But they maybe around, I don't know, the 100th time, they would start, like if he started the top of the show saying, I lied to you about the 2020 election being stolen every time until,
Maybe.
something happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was so disappointing.
It was disappointing.
I was
It was,
telling Karoli that I felt just like that Elon Musk rocket yesterday that that was the Fox Dominion.
Rapid unplanned disassembly.
That's what happened. Settled.
That euphemism is one of the best I've ever heard. Rapid
It is a really good
unplanned
one.
disassembly.
Rapid unplanned disassembly. I came up
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of those.
Let's share them. Let's hear some more.
Yes. Oh, rapid unplanned bowel evacuation.
Oh,
All right.
Rapid
oh,
unplanned free time is if I get fired, or rapid.
yeah.
There's all
Right.
kinds of
Rapid
euphemisms.
unplanned bankruptcy.
Yes.
Elmo had a very bad day yesterday.
Oh, poor baby. I'm so sad for him.
I'm really sad that we call him Elmo, because that just really doesn't. I
It's
mean,
not
poor
fair to the real
actual Elmo.
The
It's
real
not fair to
Elmo
Elmo.
turned out that he is really him, without
Yeah.
his blue mark. I'm still Elmo. Actually, the best name for him, I saw Andy Richter tweeted out, called him Emerald T Nepo Baby.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's perfect.
But I think of him, I think of those cartoons from like the 20s, the Monopoly age, where they had the rich dudes and everything. That's what I think of when I think of, yeah,
I can see that.
and
Yeah.
and everything.
So what
So yeah,
was so bad about Elmo's day yesterday?
well, then the fact that his spaceship blew up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that his spaceship blew up. Yeah, that was bad. That was yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it was Hitler's birthday, so that part was good for him. He liked that part.
Yeah, and also, it was, 420 day marijuana, whatever. He thinks that's funny. But,
Yeah,
he took away the blue check marks.
Yes.
And he's
Yes,
trying
he
to
did.
bully people into paying for it. And part of how he's bullying them into paying for it is that he purchased some himself for certain celebrities he wanted people to think had bought them.
Yeah.
And so Stephen King got very angry. He says, I did not pay for this blue check, even though it says I did not give you my phone number. And Elmo
Right.
said, I did it. I paid for it out of my pocket. You're welcome. And like Stephen King,
Like he's supposed to be happy about this thing.
So yeah, he bought one for Stephen King. He bought one for LeBron James.
Yeah.
And he just
so the people he thinks are cool.
Yeah.
Right. See, I think part of what pissed him off about the old blue checks, the legacy blue checks, of which I had one finally after waiting for 10 years.
After so long.
And you deserved it.
And so, but I think what bugged him is that people like me who were nobodies had them.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, for him, I mean, I know I'm not a nobody, but he thinks I'm a nobody.
He's the one who thought that the blue check was an elite thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of a verification of someone who has a reputation online.
Right.
Right.
And that could be a celebrity, but it could be a journalist.
Yeah.
And
a business person.
Yeah.
It could be, there's
right.
all kinds of reasons.
Whatever it was, he did not like that it wasn't just an elite bunch of people. So he's like, well, then that's how it's going to go. Then everybody can pay for it. And by doing that, devaluing it essentially because now it's not about identity. Don't be fooled by his, we'll check your phone number before we give you a blue check. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
We've seen
it's absolute bullshit.
Accounts that's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's not any kind of proof of identity. And it's ridiculous that that's what they're doing now, but that's what they're doing. So, I mean, I locked my account. I put it on to private. I figured the people that I follow, that follow me, are in that, that smaller subset, the 5,000 or so that I follow. And that's just who is going to see what I tweet. I'm not going to.
I want to thank you for following me, Karoli.
Yes, thank you. I'm honored.
Because so few people see what I tweet anymore.
Same here. I get nothing. I got 2,000 followers. That's it.
Well, I'm telling you, you got to come over to Mastodon, to the Fediverse. I shouldn't say Mastodon because Mastodon is just part of Fediverse, but it's fun over there. It's kind of
Like
like,
feta
it's
cheese?
kind of
I
like,
haven't built my tribe yet. It's not fun yet. It's not fun. It's just blah, you know?
it will be
Yeah.
fun. But if you build,
I'm
I mean,
having
you
more
should
fun
find, there's a lot of
about
people over there that are on Twitter.
and
So,
every time I see someone who says what their Mastodon account is, I follow them. They
Yeah.
don't
good.
necessarily follow me back, but I follow them. I try to retweet things or whatever you call it for
Don't,
people. I'm trying to
they're
help them.
posting. We don't call them toots here. I'm sorry. I just can't do
Whatever
that.
it is they were called, you know.
Yeah. No, I know. It is. I mean, that's true everywhere. I mean, I have an account on the Spoutable thing too. That's
Yeah.
like a Twitter clone and
Yeah.
everything. And it's the same thing. You can't like
Difficult to
you
rebuild.
can't find people.
It's difficult to
This is
We've been on
yeah.
Twitter since 2007. It's difficult
Right.
to rebuild and,
Right.
and we're scattered all over the place. I've got all these tabs open for all these different, social media
I
sites and
know.
trying to hit them all. And really the only thing I do that gets any traction are my Catterday posts. I've got a good one planned for tomorrow. So
Yeah. See, I mean, I don't get any traction anymore on Twitter anywhere. So I'm just like, that's
I
okay. I'm
retweet
I'm
you,
actually okay right now.
I retweet you
Huh?
all the time, but that's worthless.
No, it's not
Same.
worthless. But I mean, just saying that I just think that it's okay that that's the way it is because
Yeah.
there's so many Nazis and nasties on Twitter right now
Yeah.
that
Oh, it's
it's
so
not,
true.
yeah.
So
So,
anyway, back to the Fox Dominion settlement.
mhm.
Um, you know, almost 800 million is a lot of money.
I didn't
I
realize that their revenue was only 17 million last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, getting
Really?
800, yeah.
That's
So
shocking to me.
Well,
so getting 700,
most of that will go to the private equity firm that owns them.
right. Right.
And
But
that's why they were
still,
able
that's
to afford such good attorneys.
right. So I heard an interview with the other Smartmatic,
Yes.
and their company is a lot bigger and they're global. And I heard their lawyer on CNN yesterday, and he was like, here's the thing, it's not going to be enough for us to get money. We need to have the reputation rebuilt,
Right.
and that's going to mean an admission on their part.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like basically how they were the gold standard globally for voting technology until Fox News defamed them, and now they're like completely probably going to have to rebrand and everything else. So I mean, it sounded to me, and they're much bigger, so it sounded to me like the promise that what Dominion didn't get, Smartmatic would, is probably a valid promise.
Let's
So
hope.
what
I hope so.
where are they in that lawsuit?
I
They're
don't
still
know.
in discovery. It's going to be a
Yeah.
while.
Okay.
But
It's
they'll
going to
have
be
all the discovery that Dominion had because that's all
Uh-huh.
out in public now.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
So, yeah, whoopsie.
And then in the
Yeah.
meantime,
So,
Fox is letting Dan Bongino go. And also,
Aw.
did I read that Jean Pirro is also and Maria Bartiromo are also being no, they're not?
no,
That's
you
speculation.
read somebody's opinion that was
Oh,
speculating. That was the
okay.
the stupidest article. I was so pissed about it because it's total clickbait. It basically says,
And
Janine
of course
Pirro,
it's
and
spread like wildfire and
Yeah.
it did.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you read the article, it's like Dylan Byers speculating that those will be the two to go.
Yeah.
I
So anyway,
I don't think they
they're
will.
back up to their old tricks. Tucker is
Oh my
white
God.
nationalist, horrible, lying as ever. But we also have beginning on the 25th the E. Jean Carroll suit
yeah.
that the former president is saying that he's not going to come to.
Yeah, saying I don't have to.
Yeah. Which is not going to
Well,
bode
the judge
well.
said you don't have to. Don't. It's fine if you don't. But don't. He was expecting like some special treatment over it, and whatever. And the
Yeah.
judge is like, no, you have the right to be there, and if you don't want to be there, that's fine too. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
So
But the
that one
jury
could
is
be that one could be a big deal too. That's also a defamation suit. And I think
Yeah.
it's clear that he did defame her. We don't even have to get to the part about the rape or anything, because he was just
Right.
like, just defaming her
Right.
as in every way that he could.
Yeah.
And and she was a
But he
private
was
person,
president when
so
he did it.
I know
He defamed
that's
her.
what's
Yeah.
But that's what he's
great.
saying. They're trying to argue that it makes a difference that he was president, that he was in his capacity as
No.
president. Like that makes a difference.
That was why the case got thrown out by the Bill Barr Department of Justice.
Right. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But the in terms of Fox's liability in the 800 million, aren't they passing it on to the customers? Basically, they're raising their carriage fees.
All of us, they were raising their carriage fees anyway.
But didn't they raise the amount they were raising it by? I heard that it was going to go up further.
I am shocked that the companies would pay for it. You know,
I don't understand. I admit ignorance to how carriage fees work, but so if I have cable, that means I'm paying for Fox's payout?
Yeah, part of it, and at least, yeah, because if you have cable and you subscribe to cable that has Fox News, part of your cable fee is paying the cable company for Fox News to be delivered to you. It's one of the reasons that I actually canceled my cable this week, is because I just don't want to pay that anymore.
And what do you lose when you cancel cable?
Well, so far I haven't lost anything of the things that we watch. There's different options, but like Sling has an option where you don't get Fox News at all, for example.
But can you still have local channels and things like that?
Yeah, there's a whole, honestly, we could do a whole show just on all the options that are available if you decide that you don't want cable anymore.
It depends on the service you have, but there's also over the air. And the antennas they have now. I mean, the over the air now, there's many more channels than there used to be over the air.
Right.
I mean, we've got it set up.
Is that a service, what you're saying? Over the air is a service?
Over the air is your local stations broadcasting like they always have over the air.
Brought to an antenna
on top of your house.
Yeah.
That grabs it. And we've got a setup on our home theater where we can switch from whatever it is we're streaming to over the air and watch these stations over the air. But we don't do that. And my husband insists that it's a better picture over the air. I can't, it's imperceptible to me. I don't do that because really all of the stations over the air are in our YouTube package. So I don't need to. So
Right.
So if Fox News loses this Smartmatic lawsuit,
we don't know what's going to happen. They will probably settle with Smartmatic too, because Rupert does not want to go on the stand. And he does not want to make his hosts go on the stand. And this is the stuff that we were anticipating.
This is what we were hoping for, right?
Yes.
Right. Well, but the problem is with the Smartmatic is not going to just settle for money. They want their reputation restored.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what Dominion said too.
Yeah, I don't know. My impression from this lawyer, I mean, he was asked directly by John Berman in this interview if they refuse to make a statement or apologize, is that a deal breaker? And he basically said, we want our reputation restored. And, I mean, no lawyer is going to come out and say what a deal breaker. They're not going to negotiate in public. So he's not going to say that. But he was pretty emphatic that that's where they wanted to go with it. That they wanted money and they wanted reputation. So I mean, I'm willing to be a little optimistic, I guess, about that. But who knows that when that's coming up? And in the meantime, they can keep lying.
Dominion is also suing Newsmax and OAN.
And not only that, the other good news is that Fox shareholders are suing Rupert Murdoch.
Yes,
are they?
Yeah, and that is actually a suit that could really do some harm to, um, sorry, I got a text message that
That's
could
okay.
really do some
I didn't know
harm to
about that
Fox News.
lawsuit.
Yeah, they're on breach of fiduciary duty because he allowed them to keep lying when he knew that the election wasn't stolen. So that's a
Wow.
big badass lawsuit and just got filed. So it's going to be a while through the
Oh,
pipeline, but it's a
great.
big one. Yeah.
That's good news. How much are they suing him for?
I don't. It's right now. It's breach of fiduciary duty. I don't know that
Oh,
they've named a number. So I mean, and that would
couldn't
get
happen
him
to a
removed
nicer
from the
guy.
board, and Lachlan
Yeah.
too, which would be
Auckland would
amazing.
be good because, who knows if Rupert's going to live long enough to be part of the suit.
Right.
How old is he now?
92.
92.
And we just saw
I
Logan
know.
Roy die, so
I'm the only one not watching this show. I'm the only one not watching
I
Succession.
no, you're not. You're not the only one.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not
You're
either.
not watching it either?
No, we tried. I wanted to like it, and we try to watch things here together because it's just more fun,
I agree.
and
I do the same thing.
Tim was like, after maybe two episodes, he's like, I hate everybody in this show. I do
oh,
not
they're
want to watch
horrible.
it
They're
anymore.
all
Two
horrible.
on the nose. Two on the
They're all
nose.
horrible, but it's a
Yeah.
train wreck. You know?
I've watched a couple episodes, and we watched the first couple episodes too. And Dave had the same reaction. Dave was like,
Yeah.
I cannot spend my time, I cannot devote time right now to watching a show where I hate everybody and
That
they're
was Tim.
filthy rich and they do awful things to each other. I can't watch another hour. I can't like commit to another however many seasons of like
Yep.
being pissed off at what these awful people are doing. He's like, I can't do
Right?
it.
I know. It was me too, and
Yeah.
Tim. I could have watched it. Because I would
I
have
could
projected
probably get
Rupert
into
on
the soap
everything.
opera
But
aspect.
Tim was like, "No, I cannot do this. We're not.
Yeah.
We are not spending our time watching this thing." So
Yeah.
I haven't watched it since then. And then there's the one with there's the other one that's like Succession in Montana.
Billions?
Yeah.
Is it Billions?
No,
No. Yellowstone.
That's the one we couldn't get into.
That's
Yeah,
like Yellowstone.
well,
Yellowstone is like
Yellowstone.
Succession?
Yeah, it is. Kevin Costner is the patriarch in that one, and it's like
Alice.
all the kids are like jockeying around, and they're all screwed up and everything else. And I mean, Tim liked it. I like that one. I couldn't watch that one. I was like,
I'm not a huge Costner fan.
yeah, me either. So anyway, that's our like descent into TV land, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Usually we save that for the end, but
There's good
Yeah.
TV to watch too, but
yeah.
there is.
there's so many parallels between Succession and Fox that
Yeah. Yeah, we had to
I
dip
know,
into
and that's
that.
what I heard, and I kept thinking I want to go back and watch it without Tim, but I haven't yet. So, man, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Who knows?
So why don't we talk about our old friend Cleta Mitchell?
Oh.
Oh yeah, good old Cleta Mitchell, Ginny's pal, Cleta Mitchell. So, and I want everybody to think and anybody who's listening to this, if you hear the name Cleta Mitchell, just attach Ginny Thomas to it, okay? Because they're opposite sides of the coin. Like Cleta Mitchell is the legal eagle, and Ginny is the one that goes out and implements it and rounds up all the people to do stuff. So yeah, Cleta Mitchell did a presentation for the Republican retreat on young voters and basically how to suppress their vote so that Republicans can win.
Now we've
Right, and
already been hearing messaging from Scott Walker and
Mhm.
from Kellyanne Conway, and and they're saying that Generation Z has been brainwashed by the left.
I mean, they've acknowledged through all of this that the reason they're not winning is because young people can't stand them.
Right.
Right. And so it must be brainwashing. It couldn't possibly be them. It couldn't possibly be their policies.
That they're that
Listen,
It's go ahead.
they hate them because they're assholes, because they're racist fucking assholes. That's why.
Exactly.
Not to
Bingo.
mention
Ding, ding,
misogynist
ding.
and
Yeah.
transphobe.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, all of their culture wars are backfiring. These kids are horrified at at banning books and
Mhm.
anti-trans and all of it. I
They
mean,
should be. It's horrifying.
it is horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. And the hypocrisy of it all, when you're a kid in general, I think, and I say this without any, it's not diminishing them in any way, but things are more black and white, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a trans person, a black person, I mean, and you're not gonna just be buying all the bullshit that they're
Yeah.
shoveling down. I mean, it feels a lot to me like the 60s did with the establishment over here and the hippies over here saying, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Unfortunately, the hippies all went to be establishment, but that's
I
another
think
I
he's
story.
all on
know. I know.
again, but
I have to read you. Do you guys follow Andy Borowitz?
Yeah.
So he had earlier in the week his one of his headlines: Ginny Thomas vows not to let husband's problems interfere with her work on the Supreme Court.
Exactly. I saw somebody else who had a Justice Ginny Thomas in her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Calling her post as Associate Justice a job I've loved for the past 3 decades, she said. I'm hopping mad that Clarence would do anything to jeopardize that.
Amen, sister.
He gets it so right.
Her friend Cleta, who was very involved in the Stop the Steal thing, she was on the call with Trump in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she did this presentation to the Republicans at their retreat. And was it the Washington Post that got the slides, the presentation?
Yeah, I think so. And well, it was Lauren Windsor who got the slides and gave them to the Washington Post.
Yes.
Yeah. So she got the slides and she got recordings. She got it all.
It's horrifying.
It
How
is
does
horrifying.
she still get admitted to these things? Like, people don't recognize her yet?
No, you know what? I do think she has one of these faces that is nondescript enough, and I say that with no,
she's white enough.
Yeah, she's white and it's nondescript. She's cute, she fits in with them, and so she can get into these places, and nobody actually bothers to recognize her face.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I've known her for a while, and I'm not sure that I would recognize her if I met her in the mall or something.
And they can't stop being made fools of.
Yeah, and she asks the best questions, and sometimes she doesn't even have to ask questions. She just lets them talk.
Just talk. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently she got in, and I mean, the Cleta Mitchell stuff is just horrifying. It's just.
So what did Cleta say?
Well, I mean, she basically wants to make sure that no students can vote on campus, and that their student IDs won't be valid for voter IDs. And this is where the fallacy of their whole you have to show your ID to get in, to do this or that is so stupid, because they have a student ID for a reason, right? That's to get in. It's a picture, it's a photo ID. Yep. There's no reason why that shouldn't be allowed. Right. And yet, here we are. So, but the target is so specific, right? It's the cities where Black people and students vote in swing states. So in Georgia and Wisconsin, all those places. So it's just another way to try to suppress the Black and student vote. And it's evil. It's just freaking evil. And I hope that they don't succeed. I mean, I don't think they will, but I'm worried especially about Georgia, because the Republicans still have the state house there, and they could make these kind of rules.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But, the whole thing is, for me, the more valuable part of that is just, listen, this is what Republicans are doing. They can't win on their arguments. They can't win on the merits. So what they're doing is just shaving voters off wherever they can so that they can win that way.
It's
Yep.
shining a light on the dirty tricks because
Right.
it's another dirty trick.
But isn't this what they've always done?
It's, well,
Yes.
it's what the white supremacists have always done because,
Right.
back in the 50s, it was the Democrats in the South who did it,
And back, back in the 1900s and in Jim Crow and
But
All of that.
this is what they're trying to do. They are trying to impose Jim Crow all over again.
It's all the same. This is, I mean, nothing new. This is all the same. They're trying to get, they're trying to make sure.
It's this loop,
We're stuck in the loop.
We're stuck in a loop, and it's very frustrating, especially for those of us who fallaciously thought that we had busted out of it years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. We've made small gains legally, and they have done everything they can. What white people, particularly white men, have actually lots of white women have done everything they can to put that toothpaste back in the tube, and they've succeeded in a lot of ways. And this is and Cleta Mitchell, is still, they're still at it. They're like, how can we, keep it the way it was in 1870?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
good old Texas gal.
Allowed to have a law license.
Say it again, Donna.
I mean,
back in the 70s, she couldn't have gotten a law license.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I'm surprised she still has one after she was on that call with Trump.
That's right.
Yeah.
I thought she was getting disbarred. I know she had to quit her firm.
Yeah, she did. But, wingnut welfare will take you far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gross. So, let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, shall we?
And Dan Goldman. What a pair.
Oh my gosh.
Goldman.
Speaking of,
I have such a crush on Dan Goldman.
Creamy.
Dan Goldman is fire, is what Dan Goldman is.
Not that was necessarily what you were going to bring up with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I just, as soon as you said that, I just went right to Dan Goldman.
I had no idea that Dan Goldman was such a I don't know, sex symbol.
Such a
dreamy.
Master of the rules.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene,
prosecutor on that committee, right?
Well, and that's what's so interesting is that he was a staffer. Mm-hmm. Did you know he's an heir to the Levi's fortune?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that.
Very wealthy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is he single?
I didn't either.
No.
I didn't either until Broad Story did a heat piece on him not having an upline trust, but he's actually trying to have a blind trust. It's all going through the ethics committee right now, and he's disclosing everything. So it was kind of I don't know, it was nothing.
Kind of a stupid story.
Yeah. But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene starts calling Mayorkas a liar. I mean, she uses the word liar. This woman, I don't know. Did she learn no manners whatsoever, ever? I mean,
does she know? Raised in a barn.
She must have been. And so the Republican who's in charge of the committee is challenged by Dan Goldman. Wasn't it Dan Goldman who challenged? Yeah, to take her words down. And if you remember Anthony Weiner, when he was in front of the House saying that if you get sick, die quickly. I guess that was Alan Grayson.
Yeah,
but Anthony Weiner had another one. I don't even remember what his was, but they took his words down, which means literally what it says. They take him off the record. They wipe it out. You don't get to state. You don't get to do stuff like that. You can't impugn witnesses. And so Dan Goldman, the chairman says, yes, she's done. We're taking her words down, and moving on. And she can't. Well, Dan Goldman says, and am I right when it says that the rules say that she can't speak again, right? If she's, if her words are taken down.
Yeah.
Right. And the chairman's like, yes, you're right. That's true.
Oh,
And so she was like, shut up for the rest of the hearing. And she was
right.
mad as a wet hen about it too.
This is
Huh?
right after she told her colleague Eric Swalwell that you
Mhm.
had a sexual affair with a Chinese spy and everybody knows it. And
Right.
and when Eric Swalwell asked for those words to be taken down, Green, the committee chairman, wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Because apparently
He
because he
says, well,
wasn't a
yes,
witness.
everybody knows that.
So that's allowed. You can impugn your fellow congressperson,
Right.
but you
But
can't
not the
impugn a witness.
witnesses. Because who would come and testify if you went there and got called a liar? Who would do it? I wouldn't do it. Would you? I mean,
Not
so
without a subpoena. Now we know those aren't worth anything.
Yeah.
oh, puppers. So
Hello, sweetheart.
oh,
Good
such a
girl.
good doggo.
Yeah.
So she is so mad. She's like all over Twitter, like, my Republican colleagues have shut me up. How are we ever supposed to get anything done when you shut me up?
That's how we get things done, by shutting you
Right.
up.
You shut up and we get things done. That's right. So she was way mad about that, and Dan Goldman was great, and so was just I don't know. The Democrats in the House are doing a great job right
Yeah.
now, I think, because they in the end, I think, by the way, the debt ceiling, the way I predict it's going to end, Kevin's not going to get his Republican votes on the radical proposals that he has, because who wants to vote for cutting veterans benefits by 22%? Who wants to vote to cut poor people? I mean, they like every constituency, they want to cut their benefits, and it's like they're not going to get Republicans voting for that. And so in the end, it's going to be a clean debt ceiling, and it's going to be Democrats who pass it.
All right.
That's my prediction.
Karoli has spoken. We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
So we have a few minutes left. You want to talk about TV again?
We can. We should probably talk about the presidential race, at least that Biden is announcing his on Tuesday,
which will
his
come out
candidacy.
next week, most likely.
Right. And we have RFK Jr. and who is announced as a Democrat, which he's not. He's a libertarian.
Yeah.
And he's nuts. I mean, I'm sorry, he just is.
Yeah.
And we have Larry Elder on the Republican side.
Larry Elder.
Gavin Newsom must be so relieved that he doesn't have to run against Larry Elder
for governor. So wait, who do we have on the Republican side? We have Larry Elder. We have Donald Trump. Has Ron DeSantis announced?
No.
No.
Okay. No, and he is like plummeting, just like his fingers into the pudding, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So who do we have then? Is it just those two that have announced? Or I feel like more have announced.
Haley.
Well, Trump has announced.
That's
Nikki
what I'm saying.
Haley.
Those two, like Trump
Mike
and
Pence
Elder.
is in it.
Nikki Haley.
He running Asa Hutchinson?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Asa Hutchinson. I knew somebody else had announced.
Asa Hutchinson is running, and then
the A-team, you know?
Mike Pompeo is not running.
Right.
So that's news.
Are they talking about Tim Scott?
Too, but he won't.
Oh, no, Tim Scott has an exploratory committee.
Yeah.
All of these guys are running for second place.
Right.
You know that, right? I mean, they're
all
it's going to be
the vice president.
Exactly. You know, it's what do you want to run? Do you want to run with a black guy? Do you want to run with a woman? Do you want to run with another white dude? What do you want to do? So, I don't know. We'll see.
He just wants to be the dictator. I read the most horrifying thing today in the Washington Post about his plans, his think tank's plans for what to do with the second.
Or what to do with the what?
So much fascism.
Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, it's just fascism, straight up fascism. I mean, it's like Hitler coming back after going to prison, you know,
horrifying,
same shit.
Horrifying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even, it's like hard for me to even talk about him. I don't want to. I want him to be irrelevant and gone.
But
so
he
isn't Bonnie Willis.
Isn't yet.
Right? Yeah, Bonnie Willis, somebody.
So we have to be wary, and this is why we can't relax.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that happy note, that's it for this week. Um, join us next week at MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com or on your favorite podcast service, and be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the Demcast family of podcasts.